Mark Rogers TV on the line with Chris Watson from Trojan Sports on the Rivals platform for USC Athletics. Deontay Burnett, we know what he did in the Rose Bowl. The thought process was, okay, does he elevate to that level on a game-to-game basis as an elite receiver, or does he drop back to the 45 or 50 catch guy that we would expect? It seems as though he's turning in some big ball games. The other question, Chris, being that the secondary receivers, even though they're highly touted, and in Stephen Mitchell's case, a guy that's been around campus for quite a while, didn't see a whole lot against Western Michigan. Darnold didn't necessarily trust them to make plays and was constantly looking at Burnett. So your thoughts about the complementary guys and also Burnett?
I thought that they all stepped up big against Stanford. I thought they all had a huge game. I was the guy coming into the year that when everybody was talking about Deontay Burnett, I expected big things out of him, but I point to the fact that I don't think he's an NFL-type receiver. He's putting up such big numbers that I don't really know what to say. I still don't feel like he's that physical kind of receiver, but he's made me look very wrong. He's been very impressive. Stephen Mitchell, I thought, could potentially struggle on the outside. I didn't think that was his natural position. Against Stanford, he had a great game, and he was incredible too. And I think that so far that these receivers have looked pretty darn good, especially in this game. The first game was a little bit tougher for them, but against such a good secondary. And I think Sam Darnold, you mentioned the trust, maybe not being there in that first game. I think that he showed against Stanford. He had a lot of trust in his receivers. He put the ball in places where he just expected them to be there and make plays, and they did for him. And I think that that's a huge sign for USC fans going forward, because that was the question mark on this offense. Looks like USC might have, one of the better receiving cores in the Pac-12, or just be totally fine, at least at that position.
Before we move on to the defense, one number really stands out in looking at the USC offensive performance against Stanford, against what should be a really good defense. The number one, it shows up in the box score 3 times. 1 sack, which is the same as the tackle for loss, and 1 pass defensed. That's all Stanford did in the backfield, in USC's backfield. So really no plays behind the line of scrimmage aside from the 1 sack is pretty amazing against Stanford on defense to churn out an entire college football game. Usually you see, even if you're successful offensively, you see 5, 6, 7 plays behind the line of scrimmage, but really nothing there for Stanford is pretty amazing right there.